All right. Welcome back to another Healing Conversation podcast with your favorite self-care coach and motivator, Addie Speaks. Today, I have a lovely guest here. He's all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. And I want him to come on here to tell his story because I found his content to be very inspiring. So I want him to come on here, tell his story, and give self-care tips on how to embark on a healing journey as men and Black individuals. So go ahead.
How you doing? So like my journey started in
Wait, wait, you got to
2020.
tell them your name,
Oh,
where you
okay.
from, why you do what you do.
Okay, cool. My name is Ammartis McCrary. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Um, I basically help men to learn how to identify uh traumatic things in their life and also learning how to get to that healing journey so they can be the best version of themselves.
Awesome, awesome. So, Ammartis, could you please go ahead and tell us your story? What brought you to that place to want to help people be the best version of themselves?
What brought me to that place was basically in 2020. Like I realized like I was going through depression and I had a lot of things that was going on mentally that I didn't that was never brought to the forefront. And we wasn't really taught how to heal. Basically, most of the stuff that we was taught was basically, okay, you go through something, you keep moving on.
Yeah,
And so when I was going through problems, I didn't know how to identify it. I was just like, okay, this doesn't feel the same. I'm not the same person
right.
basically. And so I didn't know how to identify. I was just like, okay, whatever. I gotta work. I gotta take care of my boys. So it wasn't really a lot of room for me to like assess the problem, basically.
Okay.
So once I went through depression and went through like a terrible breakup and all that kind of stuff, I was able to just have this solitude moment with God and basically Him recharging me to be the person that I am today.
That's great because I was like, I'm resonating a little bit because sometimes it takes a certain pain to help you figure out that there's better for yourself and there's a better life to have, but first you have to
Hmm.
take care of yourself and you have to start from the inside. So tell us about how you overcame depression. You have children.
Hmm.
How was that, you know,
Um, it
going
was
through
very,
that?
it was like very crazy because I was still trying to be a dad, but still learning how to take time for myself and just be in that secret place with God. He revealed things to me that helped me be a better father, that helped me be more present with my kids and understanding their plight that they will once come to. So that was the most thing that I seen about it. Because at first, like when I first began in parenthood, it was just basically like I worked all the time. Like I didn't have time to really sit down and enjoy them. And even when we did have that time, I was basically asleep. So I didn't understand the importance of my presence at that time. I was just like, okay, cool. I got to work, so let me get some sleep or let me just take that time. But I wasn't doing the work on myself with the self-development.
Right. So what are some ways did you self-develop to get yourself where you are today, to be present with your children, starting routines? Because I see you online, you're motivating, you're asking, telling the men secrets and gems, how to just be balanced, mind, body, and spirit. So what message could you tell the audience today on how to cultivate that relationship with self and God?
Okay. My thing is like understanding that solitude is not a punishment, it's for your development. And that's one of the things I had to understand. Like you always find ways to distract yourself
Right.
when it's time for you to look in the mirror and really to assess yourself. So I got to the point where this is what I needed for my life in order for me to understand exactly what God is taking me. So I had to be to the point where I isolated myself and just let me and him do the work. But I read a lot of books to help me get to that point as well, and looked at things that's very inspirational that really like kind of helped me identify exactly what I was going through. And the gym as well. So that was like
The gym is
more
where it's
most of
at.
the stress reliever for the
Yeah.
most part, and learning how to learning how to just handle everything without always getting upset, without always raising your voice, with just learning communication, basically.
Right. So I want to ask you this question:
Okay.
are you able to walk us down your pain? What was the pain that you experienced, and to what magnitude
Hmm.
was it to where it affected your daily lifestyle?
Okay. Like I'm a middle child, right?
Right.
So I always had this concept of being invisible,
Right.
and it wasn't like it's like it wasn't a narrative that I created for myself. It was very present. It was very living, very being. So with that being said, like I always had this presence that I was invisible, but it made me lose my self-worth and always trying to fall in line with being a people pleaser. That's what I start to always gravitate towards, like trying to please others, just trying to be what everybody want me to be, but not being enough for myself. And
Right.
so that was the whole thing. So when I start having kids, it was still like, okay, it's not about me. It's more about them. It's more about their moms. It's more about me making sure everybody's okay. But in the whole thing, I was dying inside, and I didn't understand why. But just because I wasn't truly healed myself, I didn't identify what I was going through. And then like I also had like my brother, he created this um comparison narrative with me for a long time. Like when I did something, it was, oh, you pretty good, but you're not like that person. So this is something that's always stayed in the back of my unconscious mind. So when I start to do something, that's to be the first thing that was like echoing in my brain. Like you're okay, but you're not that. And
Right.
so it's just a constant thing, and just seeing how people gravitate towards negativity. And so once I started to see that, I'm like, okay, I don't fit here. I don't fit here. Even start to find women that I wasn't really compatible with, but just because I didn't know my worth, it kept me going down a downward spiral. So,
Right. So what message could you, because when you said something about, you said something along the line of, well, I'll start here. I know there's a lot of people hurting, right? There's a
hmm
lot of people hurting. There's a lot of people hurting secretly. And I remember I had a dream, and I walked into a building, and I'm just talking to the people. I'm just like, la la la, talking, smiling. They talking back and smiling. So in my mind, I was asking, why are they still here? Because that place in my dream was like a facility where it's like people that go through the same thing or the
hmm
same pain. That's where they're staying there. They're getting the help. And I remember trying to figure out. I went to the lady in my dream, and I was like, why is this person here?
hmm
Because to me, he's sane and he's having this conversation with me. So why is he here in this place? He don't need to be here. And then she looked at me and she said, some people are in pain, but they don't know that they're in pain.
yeah.
So when you said that you walk around and you was dying on the inside, right? There's some people that won't take the time and the solitude, the space to try to figure that out, when that's the key to unveil
hmm
the true life that God has for you. So I wanted to know what quick message, because I want you to take over, first of all, take over the line, right? But what quick message could you also give? Because you gave a pretty good perception, but if you could just talk to a young boy, because a young boy does not signify age, right?
hmm
But if you could talk to a young man and just, or if you could talk to your younger
hmm
self, the self that didn't know who you are now, your worth, your self-esteem, your confidence. If you could talk to that person, what would you tell them today?
I would basically tell them to find themselves, know exactly who you are, knowing that you are enough, knowing that you are adequate, and knowing that you can do anything. And that's the thing that I would basically give that person for them to understand, because you have a lot of men that use their money to make them feel important or to make them feel like they are enough. But what do you do when you don't have that?
Mm.
What do you do when you're at your lowest? Like, do you still feel like you're that man? Like, I walk around now with the space of knowing that I am adequate in every aspect, regardless of how much money in my pocket, regardless of what kind of car I drive, all of that stuff. But that's because my true identity came from the source. It's
Right.
not coming from materialistic things.
Right.
And once I gained that level of connection with who I am and who God called me to be, that's what makes me walk into the light of me being me
I love
now.
that. I love that scenario when you use money, because I feel like a lot of people tie their worth to money or materialistical things. And when you don't have it, like you said, when you don't have it, can you still identify yourself as that person? Can
Yeah,
you
because
still
that's how I
show up
was.
as,
Because when I had
because
money, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm good. Like because I had the money. But when I
mm,
didn't have the money, it made me feel like crap.
yeah,
So God had to take that away from my vision. And like, nah, you don't got it now. So who do you identify with now that you
yeah,
don't have it? Like, do it make you feel low? Like now it's a whole different perspective just because I've been to that point and understand like God wanted to subtract these things from my character so that he's able to build me in the trajectory that he want me to go in. And like I tell anybody in 2020, when I was at that low point, I could have felt like it was over, and I did at a time. But when God showed me exactly who I am, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like now I can really walk into who you want me to be because this is no longer something that has to be a part of me. Like it helps, but it's not the main thing though.
yo, you when you said 2020, I was like, what was that, the year of transformation? Because
Yes.
that
So we're on three.
listen, that year was that's when everything hit me.
Yeah.
It happened after
Everything.
an accident, but it hit me because I feel like God was telling me, slow down. I want to do something on the inside, because there are many times we can miss it. We'll miss the mark and we'll be like,
Because they're so busy.
right,
And
we're
you got
so
so much stuff
busy
to do.
and we're trying to survive, trying to keep up with certain stuff, and all these things are vanity. And when you actually find yourself, you'll be like, oh, I would rather be here
Yeah.
than to keep
Like I
up
don't even
something that don't mean
and you start
nothing.
to realize like you don't even need that stuff.
Exactly.
And so 2020, that was also when my uncle died, and he was very inspirational in my life. And there was a lot of stuff that he spoke into my life way before I was even an adult. So once I started to think about that kind of stuff, and he died that year, but it was basically to a point where he died so I can live.
Mm,
So I
mm,
won't end up being the way he was, like trying to play it safe all the time and not really walking into my true calling just because of my own insecurities and my own and being in my own way, basically.
yeah. I like how you said that. Not being able to walk into who you truly are because of things that can hold us back. So, how did you overcome insecurities, doubts? If something come out of nowhere, like something that you did not plan, and it just not the wind at you, or just knock you off kilter. How did you get back centered?
Um, I say a lot of praying, just being in the word.
Yeah.
But working out, like with a lot of insecurities, it really took over that whole situation because I was able to see that anything that you want to change, you can. And it also had to start with my mindset. Like I can't make the changes that I made in the gym if I didn't have the right mindset. So
Right.
God, He really like blessed me to come back to having a pure mindset and have it where I stopped talking in negative connotations to my life because that's something I was like I gravitated towards a long time just because I'm like okay if it ain't one thing it's another but it's I learned these practices from hearing other people talk
Right.
and it's like it ain't one thing it's another. Oh, when it rains it pours.
Mm,
So those things I kind of adapt those to my life. So now that I'm in this place, I'm putting myself to think more in a positive space versus already like condemning my day just by the stuff that I talk to myself. Because idle words cannot be, it's not a good or bad to them. They're like right in the middle. But at the same time, it's like, why leave it there when you could just go straight to the positive? And that's the thing that's going to help turn your day to whatever you want it to be.
exactly. And I like how you said that. But let's get into the gym.
Okay.
Let's get into the gym, because gymming has been the essential part besides God and the
Mm-hmm.
word, gymming has really been something that has helped me on the journey of healing.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes some people don't know how to transmute their pain into
Mm-hmm.
purpose, right? But when you know how to channel that energy into a way it can benefit you, then that's how you know you can overcome and become who God has called you to be. So when I started gymming, okay, all the pain and all that thing that was
Yeah.
up here, oh,
It just
that thing went
went
to the,
down there.
it went to
Yeah.
the weights, you know, and it went to the muscles. You know, I
Yeah.
got a little small little
Yeah.
bump here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so I found that gymming has been it's just very important for your overall health, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you expound on the importance of gymming or the importance of um refocusing your mind from the undesirable outcome to the present moment on how to just be more present, like did you cultivate any morning routines? Did you incorporate any afternoon or night routine to keep you on that momentum of I'm going to go to the gym at this time, I'm going to eat healthy at this time? Is there anything you incorporated new into your life after you realized those negative connotations you associated with?
See, like I played football, right? So I had a little of that discipline, but like I say, still 2020, it is still more discipline to me because I understand like this is a form of expression that won't hurt anyone,
Mm-hmm.
that will basically allow me a chance to release what I'm feeling.
Right.
Even if I feel inadequate or I feel like, man, today is a crappy day, I
Right.
can go to the gym and take all of my pain, anger, stress, or whatever out on that in a positive way. So it keeps me sane.
Yeah.
Um, so I get up in the morning. A lot of times I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just get up in the morning
Boy,
and box.
you better than me, boy. I sleep at 5 a.m. I said, but I ain't going any lower than that now.
Hey, sometimes you gotta have that. You gotta have that routine, and that kind of
Yeah.
helps you too. And then I started to take out things that cause me a little stress.
Yeah.
Like I understand, like when I eat junk food, that causes me to feel a certain type of
Right.
way. But I had to identify with myself. I'm an emotional eater too,
Right.
so
Me too.
that would kind of help me.
I be so guilty. Sorry. Y'all
Yeah.
emotionally eaters, there's a plan and a purpose for us.
I promise you, I get the Oreos. I'm getting the chips.
Man.
I just want to relax. But I was like,
Right.
nah, I can't keep doing it. Like, let me find some healthier snacks in order
Right.
to sub in there for that. So I started getting up in the morning. The first thing I do before I even let my foot hit the ground is pray first.
Right.
Once I pray, get up, I might box, then I go to work, get off, and then still go and lift weights. Because sometimes I'm just relieving that stress just from work.
Right.
So as
And,
that's my
and
routine.
let me ask you, did you did you incorporate a specific playlist, or you made sure you knew what to play when you were in the gym to keep you,
It depends on what day
going?
now.
Huh?
It depends on what day. It
Like
depends on what
at
day. That's
least
all I'm
name
saying.
2 or 3 artists that you listen to that are very motivating, pushing, you know.
Like I said, it depends on what day. Because like a lot of times, if I'm feeling like a little low on energy, then I might listen to like some Lil Wayne, Lil Baby, or some stuff like that, like just to give me that extra push. But if I'm feeling high, oh, I'm going to the gym. I'm listening to gospel the whole
Okay.
time on ET. Like those are one, and people be looking at me kind of crazy because I might just be up there singing my little gospel songs, and they be like, I know this dude is not lifting weights with 300 pounds, and he listen to gospel. Yeah, like
Listen,
I'm good.
that's good. That's good. So before we end the live, what are some three self-care I'll say what are three self-care things that you incorporate in your daily routine? Because not only does the healing journey gives you discipline, because now you
Mhm.
have to go in a direction that now God is calling you in, but how did you keep the discipline? That's where the question was going, right? So what are the three self-care routines that you incorporate daily to keep you at that momentum, to keep you at the healing and always improving on yourself?
Um, One thing I would say is like knowledge is everything. If you don't do anything else, just pick up a book and just read sometimes. Like that helps you with your progression. Like I feel like it's so much knowledge that's inside of the books that it can really push you to the healing point that you need by you listening to somebody else's story or you just reading it. And I've read like Jump by Steve Harvey. I feel like that's very inspirational for somebody that's like on a healing journey.
Right.
I read Crazy Faith by Mike Todd. Um, yeah, it just telling you it just those are the keys like of faith. So that's something that you need in order to have, in order to progress. Another one is meditation. Meditation has been great because you just have that time. I pray and I meditate. So I have like at least 30 to 40 minutes of silence to myself and God. So I'm getting my body recentered before I even leave out the door. So I already know that day is going to be great. And then the third one is affirmations. I feel like affirmations is very important because it's something that you say to yourself. So once you say it a lot of times, you start to believe it.
Right.
The same way when somebody tell you something negative about yourself, if you keep hearing that, it started being embedded in your mind. So you have to kind of replace that stuff with something that's more positive that can help you get to where you need to go.
I like how you said that, especially with the affirmation. Because when we hit a certain age, I know I'm not sure if it's scripture, but at a certain age, you are not responsible for your salvation.
Hmm.
And salvation is not dictating on religion or a church building, but how are you taking care of yourself?
Yep.
So are you allowing the negative words to be, sprouted up, or are you going to combat it with what God had called you to be, who he
Hmm.
had called you beautiful, lovely, all that stuff? Are you going to use what he called you, who he called you to be, to overcome the negativity? And so it takes a lot of energy. Not a lot of people want to be like, oh, I'm beautiful, or I'm this, or I'm that. They want to already be, but in order for you to be, you have to
Yeah.
walk it out.
And then a lot of time people look for they try to find that validation in outside
Right.
sources.
Right.
And if you look at social media, you look at all the things that we pay attention to, really you would always feel like you're not enough because
Right.
they paint this perfect picture. But a lot of time it's nothing but highlights.
Right.
And a lot of those people are still have insecurity. They're
Yeah.
still miserable. They have
That's
a
why
lot
I
going
I
on.
try to, for me specifically, I have like a lot of affirmation journals or
Hmm.
just journals in period, because there will be times where you will feel below who you actually are, right? And some people just would rather build their self-esteem by targeting someone else
Hmm.
instead of going back on the inside and try to figure out or pinpoint, why am I feeling this way? What caused it? Like, we don't want to slow down,
Mm-mm.
right? And so I, I'm sorry, but how I wanted to, the other thing that I wanted to say was just the fact that you just have to take charge over your
Yeah.
life, right? You have to step in areas. Your mom ain't always, be able
See
to
all the
affirm you.
validation.
You
Hmm.
ain't gonna be always calling past. You can't always have a crutch.
Out something, and that's what a lot of people do. They use that kind of stuff. So it's like if you, because a lot of people measure, like I say, they set success off of what everybody shows them. If you're always measuring your success about where everybody is showing them, always moving the goalpost of what success look like, or what pretty is, or what handsome is, or what you got to look like in the gym. They always moving the goalposts. So if
Right.
you're not happy with the here and who you are, you'll always be at it. You
Yeah.
always gonna go through
You go try to
problems.
keep up with the
Yeah,
Joneses.
I'm not doing that one. That's
It's
cool.
too much for me. I'd rather stay here.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm
because
good
even
over
with
here.
women,
You
they
don't
try to
like
keep
this?
y'all in
It's all
so
right.
many different lanes. They're like, oh, well, you got to be a foreigner. Oh, you got to have a big butt. You got to have
Oh,
big breasts. You got to have this. You got
goodness.
to have good, big lips. You got to have this. You got to.
And then you
I'm
realize,
like,
wait,
this is.
you're realizing that it's coming back to hunt the people who have strived for that perfection but have not reached
Mm-hmm.
self-perfection, right?
And that's why
And
you
not
have so
saying it's
many
gonna
men going
always be
crazy.
perfect. What I'm saying is you have to perfect knowing yourself so you can know when to step in for yourself.
Exactly.
Right? That's building that trust and relationship with self. But that's a conversation we could have, but that's probably gonna add some more time. So that's really good that you said that you painted that picture, because I feel like people need to understand that at the end of the day, it starts with self. And if we don't get self together, the outside world is gonna get you together. And it
Yeah,
ain't gonna be
and it's
pretty
not gonna help
all
you.
the
It's gonna
time.
make you more depressed than anything. Because if you looking at everything that they display, you always gonna feel like you're not enough. But if you're looking at, okay, cool, like this is where I'm at and where God wants to take me, that's the most important vision that you should have for your life, is what God wants for you. And once we get into that spot of everything, then you can really excel at who you are. It's not always trying to measure up against somebody else, because we're always going to draw the comparison. Well, this person has more than me. It's always going to be somebody that has more than you. So once we get into who God says we are, you'll be fine.
It's the being content.
Yeah.
It's the challenge of being content, because you, while you're comparing, they're still fighting demons that they didn't even know was going to be up there.
Yeah.
And so why not build the tenacity? Because it's not like you're not able to get there, but why not allow God to build that tenacity in you, so when you get there, you're able to fight whatever
Yeah.
you need to fight, and you have the tools and the essential people around you to keep you grounded, to
Yeah.
keep you moving forward. So
And
the
that's the same
groundwork
thing
is
that happened with
very
Kanye.
important.
It's like Kanye worked so hard to be a billionaire and all that kind of stuff, but you're seeing that he is mentally disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
He may be smart in a lot of different ways, but as far as him learning how the power of tackling the mental, he can't, because at the same time he is all about the outer things. It's all about the materialistic things, and is where he has gotten caught up at this point
Right.
where it's hard for him to come back. It's hard for him to say, "Well, I'm Kanye from Chicago."
Right.
That no, it's just like, yeah, he's talking a whole bunch of stuff.
And
So it's like that's the prime example of how you can gain the world and still lose your soul.
right. And that's when I like how he says he's Kanye West from Chicago. But what happens when that no longer identify with him? Because
It
he's
don't.
seen too much or experienced a lot. So now it's like, who is Kanye West? And
Yep, it
so
don't.
to reel that in, that's how I had to, that's what really made me sit my ass down. Because I was like, who is Addie? Like what do I like? You know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah,
do I like to go? Who do I like to spend my time with? So it took, you thought you think you know these things because you wake up every morning, you go do what you got to do, and next thing you know,
it
what you
don't.
don't know is that you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
You're just
It's
knowing
like, what do I like to do for
routines.
fun? And you question yourself and you looking like, I really don't. This is crazy. And so that's why I say, like, you have to know yourself and do the self work. Because that's the thing I woke up and did. Like, when it was time that I wasn't in that relationship anymore, I was to the point like I didn't know how to really navigate throughout the day, because this wasn't the constant thing
Right.
anymore. Like,
Like
that
a
wasn't
lot of things change.
there, like that staple and what my day was and what my life was no longer there. So when that was taken away, I was like, okay, God, like I don't really know what I do or what I'm supposed to do every day. Like
Like, what's
this
going
has
on?
consumed my life. Like, what is it? And it's like, nah, I did that for a purpose,
Yeah.
to basically to get you back to who you need to be and who I want you to be. So I was like, oh, okay, I don't know how this found, but I mean, I guess
I'm
we're
a
gonna find out.
right. I'm a go with faith, you
Yeah.
know. Because I remember somebody asking, they was like, Addie, how do you um like start, like what do you do when you feel lost? And I was like, well, first of all, give yourself patience, right? Like, we give other people patience, but we don't give ourselves patience. You
Hmm.
know, we be like, girl, you supposed to already know this, or boy, you supposed to already, but it's like, no, give yourself that patience, that space, that time. Like, you might not get it in a month, but does that mean that you're not perfect, smart, or that don't mean nothing? That means you may need more time to get self
Hmm.
understanding. So I was telling her, you literally have to understand, you might not be able to go out, you know. If it's not work or an emergency, you don't need to step out.
Yeah, need
What
that
you need to
distraction.
do is respect that alone time God is giving you,
Hmm.
because she was like, "Cause I feel lost." I'm like, "Well, you gotta figure that out, and how you figure that out is by having your solitude, that alone time with
Hmm.
God, that alone time with self. See,
See,
test
that's a lot of
yourself.
people do.
Do I
They
like
they
lollipops or do I
nah,
like popsicles? You know,
yeah.
like you
But
gotta
they
ask
attract
yourself that.
themselves to other people though. And I notice a lot of people do that. When they feel lost, they attract themselves to other people.
Yes.
So now you have somebody to distract you all over
Yep.
again because you get wrapped up in their web. So a lot of people can't face themselves. So they don't try to say, okay, what do I like and what do I like to do? This is like,
And
well, okay,
can I
cool.
say
This person just
something?
came.
I
Go
feel
ahead.
like that because I kind of felt silly. Why would I ask myself that? Shouldn't I have already known that? So I think it's that
Hmm.
to overcome feeling silly, right? Or
Yeah.
that's a dumb question, right? It's
It
not a
can
dumb
it can
question. You need to
feel
know
dumb, but it's not
exactly.
because it's something that you need to know. And so when I had to do that, I was like, bro, I should be asking myself this. Like, I should know I like to do this. I should know I
Right?
like to do that. But in reality, it's like you don't really know. Like
Exactly.
you sit here like you know her more than you know yourself. Like
Right.
how's that? You know your children, you know their voice, you know when they're happy, you know when they're sad, but you don't know
Exactly.
you. And if you don't know you, how can you even like begin to understand and know somebody else? But a lot
Exactly.
of time we put everything into other people and you really don't have nothing left for yourself. So you don't really know yourself to the point you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to the movies today by
Right.
myself. I'm gonna go and play golf. I'm gonna go and play basketball. I'm gonna do something
And it could be
that's
something you
allowing me to
never did
take a
before.
stress relief. Yeah. And I just started I just learned that I like to play tennis a little bit. I'm like, oh,
You
okay,
said
God.
the
Like,
tennis. I
yeah.
got me a little racket in the back,
Oh yeah. I
man.
bought a whole bunch of rackets,
I'm
balls,
not a
everything.
professional, but I'm gonna throw that
It's fun.
ball.
It's fun.
Listen, because there's this part near my house. There's a wall. It has a whole section. When you by yourself, you pat
Oh
pat,
yeah.
and
That's
you gonna have
it. And you
quite
start
enough
to
time.
learn
You have
more
fun.
things. You start to discover a lot of more things about
Yep.
yourself when
Yep.
you put yourself at a place where you have to know
Right.
yourself. Like I hold off on dating for 3 years now because
Right.
I feel like I needed to know myself.
Right.
I need to have a close relationship with God so that way He can confirm who I am. So I'm not necessarily trying to overcompensate for something. I'm not feeling the need to use my ego
Or be
to express my
or
dominance.
yeah, or
Yeah, and that's what a lot of
just
men do.
let yourself act out of inadequacy
Yeah.
when you know you're more than enough. You know
Yeah. And I started to appreciate people for who they are. Like
exactly.
experiencing like instead of me being with a woman for control, I'm being with a woman to experience
Is
her. Because I want her to
exactly.
be who she truly is. So that way I know what to expect from her.
Exactly.
Not trying to put too much weight on her, not trying to expect her to be this way, not trying to expect her to look like a
Right.
model all the time, but just allowing her to be who she is. And so, yeah,
I,
most
you,
people don't do that.
I tell you, I know we jumped here, but there when you was painting, when you was talking about how you trying new stuff and doing tennis for the first time, I was the picture that popped in my mind was especially when we started like when we know that we have to ask ourselves questions and we kind of feel
Hmm.
silly about that. The picture that popped up was like I like there's a baby in front of you, right? And
Hmm.
you're the parent. And so now you see that that child need nourishment. So you feed the child.
Hmm.
But what happens when that person is not there to feed you? I know, like your mom gonna be like, I know you like green beans, so I'm gonna feed you green beans.
Hmm.
But what happens when you hit, 25 years old and you don't know what you like? Your mama ain't here to tell you what you like. Your daddy's not here to tell you what you like. How do you, you gotta find that space. Like I like this. I may not like green beans every day, but I'll nibble on that for a little bit because I used to eat it. So
Hmm.
that picture popped up to me because not everybody, not there's gonna be a time where you're not gonna have spoon-fed knowledge. You're gonna have to go dig it and search for it
Hmm.
yourself. And another concept that came up was to challenge yourself. You say you started playing tennis, and so it's like that challenged you to probably move more or be more flexible but you
Yeah.
gotta catch the
I, s-
ball.
I just play football. Like that's it. And but it also created more space for me to bond with my kids. So
Mm-hmm.
it just put me to a point where like they're like, okay, Dad, I didn't know you like, yeah. Anything is anything is a form of bonding. It all depends on the way that you look at it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we say like, oh, if it ain't this, I don't want to do it, or it ain't
Right.
out to eat or some stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. It puts you to a place where you're able to bond with people differently and able to like, okay, cool, I'm not that good at it, but I at least want to try.
Right. And and it helps you to get unstuck.
Hmm.
Like, we stick ourselves, we limit ourselves in one corner when there's like a whole another world out there. So I believe pushing yourself or putting yourself out there helps you to get unstuck
Hmm.
and to experience life as is, and not go by other people's
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
And
suck my hands, but
oh no, you
not
good.
go by other people's opinions about what life truly is, because life is what we make it. So you don't want drama, you'll stay away from drama. You like
Yeah.
drama, you'll go towards drama. So that's all it is. So is there any last words, Mr. Ammartis from Atlanta,
Mm.
Georgia?
Let me see. Um, I feel like we're in a time where it is so important for men to do a lot of work because
Yeah,
now you have it where the women are pretty much acting like men now
yeah,
because they have been put into a space where they have to be a man.
right,
So I feel like men have to do a lot of work on themselves. And then not on top of that, like the suicide rates for black men right now is higher than it's ever been.
right.
And so if we don't do the work, this is why we keep getting the same result. Either we're killing somebody or somebody is killing us. At the same time, we can't afford to lose more black men. We can't afford to lose more black women to domestic violence or just a dude being ignorant.
Right.
So we have to do the work on ourselves. And that's
That's the
like
message.
one of the main things.
That's
Yeah.
the message right there. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Um, I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think sometimes people get scared to embark on that journey,
Hmm.
that self journey, because it's like, or think it's not something that you need to do, but that's how you create safety within yourself,
Hmm.
because now you know where self don't need to be and where self should be or strive to be, you know.
Hmm.
And so healing is very important. That's why when I started this healing podcast and the other things that I want to do, it is not to generalize it by gender, because I have a little brother and I don't want him to feel like there's no other way to combat certain life challenges. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I can't say, you know, men ain't, because
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
an immature mindset would say. For the simple fact that if you say that, that's probably what you is. Because
It's a reflection of you most of the time.
listen, because it confuses me, because I'm like, my brother act a certain way, my brother-in-laws, they act a certain way. So how can I believe that men ain't nothing when that's not what I'm seeing? So is it who I'm choosing, who I'm around?
Hmm.
Right? People don't want to talk about that. But anyways,
Because
what I'm
people
saying is,
influence your mind,
yeah,
and so you have to look at it like that. And so I like it's like with me, I've been cheated on by a woman, right? I could sit here and say all women ain't about nothing.
yeah,
But I don't have that concept. Like I just feel like it would. With that being said, I just feel like it was something in with her that she didn't handle. She didn't know her real worth for her to be promiscuous. And so that's how I try to put it to people, not putting it to the point like women ain't about nothing because I got cheated on and that. Nah, it was just
because
her. Like that's
that
something she didn't deal with.
that's like that whole, because your words are powerful, so that all right there is negative energy. And that,
Hmm.
my friend, or a good I, well, she's a good friend. I
Yeah.
just met
Go
her,
ahead.
and that right, her energy is very appealing, because she talks about how it can, trauma gets stored in the body, so she get deeper in that. And so it's like, when you hold that notation, niggas ain't this, women ain't this, that's what you will embody,
Yeah.
more
And you keep attracting
negativity.
people. You keep attracting those same people that's not
Right.
about nothing.
And you keep trying to figure out why you in this cycle, you know, it's because you still have a same mindset that attracted them. You're not
Hmm.
trying to rebuild that side of you. And sometimes it does come by how we move. So you can say there are good women out there, but are you going to go towards the good
Or
women.
you moving
You
like
stop
that,
trying
and the
to,
only thing you're
you
liking
know,
is
you
the
trying to
Instagram
shape shift
models.
this girl. She not that, you know. And
Yeah,
so it's
something
not
like
that
that
she's,
Instagram models, then that's what you're gonna get. Like,
you know,
yeah,
like
they're
it's
showing
not that
everything
she's
for
nothing.
everybody.
It's just that she's not that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, because everyone has a role to play in this life, but that's not
I feel
what we
like
go.
dudes, um I feel like with dudes is a little bit different because we tend to lower our standards for certain things just because they
Whoa,
have
wait,
something that we look
wait!
for.
I ain't never heard a man say that in my life. You
I'm
said
just
why not?
we tend to lower our standards because a girl has particular things that we like. And a lot of time we like, okay, she don't got nothing going on, but she got a big butt though. She don't got this, but she got that.
Watch
And so that's
yourself.
what it is. And that's what it is a lot of times. So I feel like once we get a set of principles and a set of guidelines that we start to gauge love by, then we will start to see the difference in how the women approach us. But a lot of times you have seen a lot of men, they may got with a girl, cuffed a girl that she was everything they wanted, but she lacked one thing, and that may be sexually. We would throw all of that away for a piece of
And
nothing.
you know, there's classes for the things they don't know. There's classes now. Okay, so
But
if
at the
it's
same
not a
time, you
deal
better be a good
breaker,
teacher. You better
you
be a
better
good teacher.
send her to school to learn something in that area
And
that you feel like she needs to
if she
cultivate.
didn't learn it, guess what? You're not a good teacher, period. And she got to be willing to work. If she willing to work, okay,
Watch
you might
yourself.
have a little masterpiece on your hand. You might can mold it to what you want her to be. But throwing her away for something that you know that was not even in the
But
realm
see,
of what you want.
I tell you this: when you say that you're not a good teacher, I feel like that takes patience to try to
Then you
cultivate
better
that
pray and ask
part
God
with
for the
you and your
patience
partner.
then.
I don't think a lot of men have that type of patience
Well,
now.
he better pray and ask God for the patience. Because this is the thing. Somebody had to teach him what he knows too.
My God,
Nobody
watch
just
yourself.
can come out like, oh, I'm just this sexual being. Nobody came out like that. Somebody had to
Exactly.
teach him what he needs to know. So at the same time, he need to have a little patience with her because it's probably at a point in time that he was terrible. Most men don't even know they're terrible. I'm just being real. But they want to see, oh, I like it this type of way. Dude, you a waste of time.
Just get go ahead.
Like just go ahead and just give it to the king. We're good.
You know,
So I just like you have to it's certain stuff that you have to learn how to that you can cultivate. It's certain things that you like, okay, this is a deal breaker. If she's a cheater, then okay, cool. I don't mind that. But if it's just sexually, you better learn how to teach her. You
wait.
gotta
You
send
said
her to
she's
class.
a cheater. You're good with that?
Oh no, if she a cheater, let her go on by her
Oh, let her
way.
go. Let her float.
Yeah, because like that's something that you can't that's something that you can't make a person release from their system. It has to be something they recognize that this is a flaw and this
Right.
is something they need to change. But if it's something like sexually or something she don't do or whatever the case may be, just find out her strengths and weaknesses. Find out, okay, do you need some help? Like, yeah.
Look at he said. Do you need some help?
Oh, I asked. I don't care. Okay, darling, check this out. And I,
I was
like,
so
yeah. I mean, and that's the same thing with women too. There's no need to like throw away everything just because this part is a little bit off.
right.
Like I've had one of the older cats. I think he probably like 62. So we had a conversation, and I was really like disappointed in him. I'm like, dude, you had a woman that was a real woman that wanted to do everything for you, but you throwed it away to be with some trash that she ended up cheating on you, causing you all of these mental discriminaties and all that kind of stuff. But then you like, man, she ain't nothing. You knew that before you got with her. Half the time we can see it. You just bypass the red
Yeah.
flags.
Yeah. Because I agree with you because I feel that there are some things because when you have siblings, y'all know like you figure out how to be like I see how you feeling right now. I'm just not gonna deal. I'm just gonna move the other way. And when you ready to talk about it, like there's certain stuff that's
Hmm.
not a deal breaker that people will break for because I don't want to say pride, but when you see too much and you don't like you don't thank God with gratitude, what you got at home, you been to fuck up your home.
Yeah,
So then it's
sure.
like you try to go get the person back. Nah,
Because
you can't
men
do
are
that.
men look at the butt and all like, I
That shit
mean,
vanity.
she
You got
she
people
she do
undoing.
got a nice butt. You like, okay, your
But
girl got her butt like she got it sucked out with a straw, but go get it fixed. It's okay. I promise
get
you,
with you.
it is
I cannot.
okay. But you just go get her a little butt implant or something. Help her out.
You
Make her do some
and then
squats or something.
it's like if she wants that though,
Yeah, if she
don't tell
wanted,
her you need some ass and then you want her to still be with you because then you might strike up some
sometimes you got to be
insecurities.
okay with your little ironing board
Be
back there.
okay with a little
You
pancake.
like,
You know, ain't nothing
it's
wrong with a little
okay, baby.
pancake
You
now.
got a little ironing board back there, baby. But it's my little ironing board. Sometimes you got to do that. I'm a firm believer. Like
Ain't nothing
sometimes
wrong with little pancakes.
you like, but then you start to look at the whole fact. Like she may not be perfect, but I'm not either. And she's
Right.
measuring up in all these different areas.
Do
So why
you
should I
see
let
what
that little
did,
part to mess me
did
up?
you hear what you
I'm
just
not
said?
perfect. Yeah,
I
you're not perfect.
had to, like people when you okay, I'm self-care fanatic, okay? So when I took on that self-care journey, I realized, and not saying that I was trying to make people perfect, but I realized that how I was behaving was not a pick me behavior. It was I realize you have a flaw, but there's no need for me to judge you off that. But I am upset with how you behave today, and I should probably go over here. I might need some alone time. I might
Mhm.
need. So it's like I made, and then, and not saying that I communicate that clearly. Since I
Exactly.
had to work on my communication, right? But it was said that that's just me. I'm not gonna leave you because of one flaw. We could work it out, or you could show me or tell me that you're working it out. So it's like the only thing that's heavy deal breaker is the disloyalty, the dishonesty, all that. No, we can't
Oh,
do
I'm
that.
good. I'm gone. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can't do
the
that one.
door, I already know where the exit at. No, I'm joking.
Exactly.
But this is why I tell people it's imperative that you take care of yourself, because it's not just about putting on clothes. It's about what are you putting in your mind, what are you putting in your body, and what are you feeding your spirit. So self-care
Hmm.
goes deeper than the surface level. It's an inside job. And so I really appreciate you sending that message to especially Black men. Work on yourself. Sometimes it may not be the other party. Sometimes it may be, why are we so impatient? Or why are we so judgmental? Or why are we choosing wrong? Sometimes we got to ask ourselves that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to swallow the pill that says, um, where you the one that allowed that in your life. I'm like, what you talking about? I'm not chaos. What? And then it's like, no, but you had a choice to say no. You had a
Yep. And you start to
choice.
see these patterns, but you still like,
Exactly.
okay, it was something about them that made you override all of that.
Right.
And once you override that, you take it into the point where they're able to do other stuff that you like, oh, that's not that major.
Yeah.
When sometimes it's just like for you, that's supposed to have been a deal breaker.
Yeah.
For somebody else, they probably would have
Right.
dealt with it. And
Yeah.
so that's the kind of stuff I had to come to terms with.
You
Like,
just said
nah,
something.
every,
You said for you it was a deal breaker, but for somebody else it may not have been a deal breaker. That's why it
mhm.
is very another imperative to watch or be careful who you take advice from, because this person could be like, "Girl, you're doing too much. You supposed to be 10 toes for the supposed to be 10 toes down."
Nah,
And it's like, how many toes can I put down at this
I'm on
time?
15 right now. I
Listen,
can't do no more.
I don't maxed it out now. God dang it, it's done.
Exactly.
Ain't got
No,
no more foot. Ain't got no more toes
like
now.
that's it.
So it was like, I see what you're saying, but I did that already. But
Yeah,
I think that's why I did the self-care, because it's like I want to know why I opposed her advice, or why I didn't listen to my own advice. That's
yeah.
building that intuition, that voice on the
Trust for
inside of
yourself.
you. Yeah, that's telling you red flag. Hey, no, back up, back up.
Yeah,
And you like, but my friend said, don't be an emotional brat.
nah.
Don't be you
Mm-mm.
know. And
Cause
then
some
next thing
stuff
you
you
know,
know you
you
can't deal with. Like,
back in the
no.
pattern.
Yeah, sometimes you can't deal with it. Like when I hear girls, like I may have conversations with like females, and I might hear the stuff they may say, and I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. And they be like, oh, well, you didn't call me again, dog. Like the conversation that you had with her is your perspective on something that was probably made that was major to me. So by you not understanding or not recognizing the fact of like this is a problem, you didn't recognize it, but I did. So with me
Right.
identifying that that was a problem, the way that you said what you said, nah.
Because
And a lot of time they
that's
may say stuff like, "Oh, it ain't nothing a nigga can do for me but give me some money." Oh, cool. Excuse me, ma'am. Yeah, this conversation is dead. I'm
what a
sorry.
flag. I ain't got no flag. I was not prepared for the flag
I was
conversation.
like, I
Because
am out of there.
listen, you know what I also realized in this journey, that you don't need to be in anyone's space or in their space long enough for you to know what's in their mind and how they operate. It just listen to what they're saying,
Look at the stuff
and
they
that will
post,
tell
all of that.
you that's gonna tell you who you're gonna be
Yeah.
dealing with.
And a lot of people are like, oh, just because I post this doesn't mean I'm going through it. Well, me personally, I only post stuff that is relatable to me.
Right,
You won't see me post any sexual posts or sexual memes because
right,
that's not me. I'm not going to portray that. I am not going to perpetuate that I'm that type of sexual person.
right.
You won't see me post any memes unless that's how I really feel.
Because
I'm
listen,
I'm
and
just a firm
every time
believer
you
of that.
talking, these pictures be popping up. We are fishers of men, right? So if you walk out, you know what I'm saying, with how they call the guys to wear the sweatpants, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
y'all
Come
walk
on.
out wearing these sweatpants, y'all gonna pull out fishes. Come on, let me preach. Y'all gonna pull out fishes you
Like
ain't
have your
want.
hoochie daddy shorts on. You be
You
like,
know
why she keep looking at me like that?
what you got
Yeah,
on?
yeah. All the time with those in the gym. Amen. But
I'm
that's
so
all the time. No.
done. I'm so
But other than
done.
that, like you got to be careful. This is like if you're throwing out a fishing rod and a fishing pole, you throw it all the way out to the point that you got the hook in the water. You're gonna catch fish. So I
Right,
was like, why would you post some stuff if you wasn't looking to catch anything?
right.
There's like a girl may post a picture like, oh, well, y'all don't be in my DMs. You want people to be in your
What you
DMs. Like
say?
if she say y'all don't be in my DMs because I post a little picture, you know why you was posting that picture, darling. You know good and well why you was posting that little twerk video that you had to
Listen,
make sure that it was like the camera was right on your
like
butt at the
you
right
know,
angle.
I tell you this, because everybody could do it, but if we know that it sends out a certain message, okay, we won't do it because we know where it's gonna get delivered to, and we don't want that mailman coming
Mm-mm.
here. So we watch what we post.
Oh, for
Not
sure.
saying you can't be like
You can't be
you with your
you, but
friends,
still.
right? You
Yeah.
you with your friends, you want do what you want to dance, but don't
You ain't gonna
be
have it where they got the right angle on your butt. Oh,
don't
girl, throw it right
overdo
there,
it
girl.
to where it
Uh-uh.
looks
No.
like a trap,
Yeah.
but that's how I'm saying. That's all
It's
I gotta say.
like I've been in the gym. Like you would never see any pictures on it. Like I'm trying to trap anybody. I
Right
want you to see what you're
now,
supposed to see.
I might
Nothing
I
else.
might I might do that. No, I'm joking.
I might let you be and let's see what you're supposed to see. You're supposed to see the arms and the muscles and stuff, but
Right?
not lower region. Like no,
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 no
ma'am. Mm-mm.
sweatpants.
And I
No
wear the
sweatpants.
sweatpants now, but yeah, but you ain't gonna see that.
I'm
That's
so done.
no.
Okay.
I have
It's
to be
good,
very
but
Christian like.
it's
So
just
that's why I don't post. I be careful what I post. Like you never see me
right.
post anything like a sexual meme. You'll never see me post anything to that sort because I'm just very conscious about myself. And it's like certain stuff like we shouldn't be giving that type of publicity to. So that's
Right.
why I don't post a lot of that stuff. How a lot of people like I don't post girls ain't shit. I don't post
Yeah.
none of that stuff. I
Because
just
it's
like
not
okay,
true.
yeah. I just post only a thing that conveys with me. And that's why I try to tell even women like, be careful. Because if you post a sexual thing, like a sexual meme, you're looking for somebody to jump in your DM. Like, no, it's not. I'm just because how I feel. You just said it was not because how you feel. Stop contradicting yourself. So I have to be very, very careful. Not because family looking on it, but it's just that is not the presentation that I want to give to
Right.
people.
And you know what? When you said the contradicting part, I remember I was on the phone, and I think I was probably like 3-4 months in my healing, and what made my healing to be so, how you call it, transformative to me, is because I allowed God to do the work and show me things I didn't want to see within myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember she was telling me something and her desires, and I said, well, I tell you this, because God had to show me that first. So one thing that happens when you take up your cross, right, your purpose in life, you're able to free someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to make the medicine not that bitter, try to make it sweet. So I said, baby, you can't want something and move another way. This is where you contradict yourself, and this is where you won't ever get to that place that you desire to be.
True.
You're moving one way and you're
Mm-hmm.
asking
And
God
move
for
another.
another thing. Your prayer is the same, but you're not changing your behavior, because we think God
Mm-hmm.
going, no, you got to
Yeah.
change how
Mm-mm.
you move.
Mm-mm. Because a lot of people think like, and I heard a lot of people like, oh, when this happened, I'm gonna be a changed person. No, you won't.
You got to
If you haven't
change now.
you got to change before you even get that.
Right.
I had a lot of girls. She was very promiscuous and like messing with a lot of dudes. So she came and talked to me, and I was like, okay. She's like, well, I desire to be married and da. But you understand, like, if you desire to be married, then you can't be out here having
You
sex
can't
with
be
everybody.
entertaining
You
everybody.
having sex with everybody. Everybody got your number. Everybody know what time to call you at night, and they know when you feel a little high and guilty that you're gonna do that. So it's like if you're desiring marriage, then you have to move that way. You
Yeah.
can't desire that and then like thinking that God's gonna place the right man in your life, only for you to still be promiscuous.
Right.
Like that doesn't make any sense.
That's why,
And people always have this
man,
messed up concept. What's for you won't pass you. Yes, it will if you're not
it show,
prepared.
they sing that song too, don't pass me by. But you not where you need to be in order for it to not pass you by. That's one thing. Like when you said that you want to be a wife, but people don't want to move in a wife way. Not saying when you get in a relationship,
You're doing
hands
all the
and
wifey
toes
thing.
to the
Nah.
man. We're not saying that. We're saying present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That means not, and then I don't want to only say only limited to how you dress, but how you speak. What's your mindset? How you carry yourself as an individual all around. It's
Mm-hmm.
not in, oh, I wore a long skirt and it's
Yeah.
white. I
Because
don't
you still
care.
could be living like a hoe.
You know
I mean,
if
let's be real.
skirts come on, no, not. But
They still
what
come
is
off.
in your mind? What do
Yeah.
you believe? What do you believe?
I'm just
What
saying.
is your values, your
Yeah.
morals? What are these things, these core things that are needed, and that makes up a table to sustain a healthy relationship? Because it's not
Mm-hmm.
in, oh, I wore a turtleneck.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like me saying I want to be a husband. Like I have to move in a husband type manner. I can't be having sex with everybody and then expect it to change once I get into a
It's not.
relationship. Like that's not
If
gonna happen.
anything,
It don't happen that fast.
you
It's gonna
will
keep.
be mad every
It's
day.
still gonna make me keep doing it. It's gonna make
Yeah.
me go in the house, make an argument with her, just so I can go out there and smash
Just
some
so
other girl
that's what I'm saying.
because
It's
I
gonna make
haven't
you
dealt
mad every
with
day
something.
because
Yeah.
you haven't killed the flesh yet,
Yeah.
and in the flesh is your lower nature.
And then be trying to compare this freaky act that this girl did because she's trying to
That one act,
perpetuate something. And I'm sitting here basing it off on my wife or, oh, you're not freaky like her. Or, da, da, da. Of course she's not. They are totally different people.
exactly.
So it's like you can't start something and expect it to
And
immediately
and
stop
then
and hit a halt.
and then if you know what a marriage is,
You got to
y'all
be
can embark on a freaky
faithful.
journey.
Yeah, and you got to be faithful, and that's faithful even when you don't even feel like it. Even when
Yeah.
that person may get on your nerves, you probably like, oh Lord,
No,
you
no.
got to be
I don't wait.
faithful.
Wait. I don't know if you heard me, but I was saying that you guys, if you value your marriage, you both could embark on that journey together, that freaky
Yeah,
journey.
you
Y'all can
better
go embark in that
read
together.
some Kama Sutra or something.
Read a book. There's a library. People don't want to read. There's library. There's
You got
classes.
to
You know,
Pick
I
up some
stay away
intimacy
from the
classes.
Zane books though, but it's out there. It's
Yeah,
out
you
there.
better pick up some intimacy classes, or this the way. And I try to tell men this, like, if you are desiring intimacy, like you have to be a little bit vulnerable, right? You have to know exactly what she likes. You have to know what turns her on. So that comes from you doing what? Exploring. If
Hmm.
you are not willing to explore what makes her get to this point,
Yeah.
if you don't do that, then it's like you losing what intimacy really is knowing that person. It's like, okay, cool. She like when I do this, like when I do that. You might have to go back to the old days, set the mood for
Right.
her, play some music, something. Like you got to
And
stop
nothing
being more
wrong with that.
romantic. Yeah, but
And
dude's not
I
trying
want,
to be
I
romantic
want,
these days.
I think that um we need to be more comfortable in asking our partner, what is it that gets you, you know, to that place? Because sometimes you watch a provocative video and you think, oh, if I touch her that way,
Uh-uh.
then maybe
Uh-uh.
she gonna flip the
They got
script.
the wrong. They got the wrong. You got the wrong thing because if you measure by what you watch on porn, that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
unbelievable. You be like, dude, I gotta go that long. She might not even require you to go that long, but just because you got
exactly.
this picture in your head, you
Mm-hmm.
thinking this is reality, not knowing that these people take a couple takes in the middle to make it look super long,
My
and a lot of
goodness.
that stuff is not believable. So that's why I try to tell people, like, know the difference between porn life and real life.
Right.
Your girl is not gonna be doing all that all the time.
Yeah.
Let's be real. But men, we have we have been coined into watching porn so much that we think every woman reacts that way. When in reality, if you really know her, you can get her to do whatever you want her to do if it's in the right containment.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
see,
I don't
but
know.
that's a whole lot of other conversations. That's
I
another
was trying to help him
video.
out no more.
Listen, so we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Thank you so much, Ammartis, for coming and bringing your light to my channel about how men needs to take that first step, or just anyone in general who see a pattern in their life and who wants better for their life to embark on that healing journey. So I really appreciate you being that advocate and that voice to your community. And then maybe one day we can collaborate, because I will be having something, and you might have to get flued out. You know what I'm saying? You might have to get flued out, you know, so I can go ahead and have you on the stage with other like-minded individuals,
Mhm.
encouraging the community on the importance of self-care,
Oh, I would love that.
self-development, and all that good thing. And so, again, I'm Martis. Thank you so much for gracing this
Thank you for having me.
platform. I'm sorry,
Thank you for
I can
having
see
me.
you.
I said thanks for having
Oh,
me.
of course. Listen, anytime, another time, we're gonna have part two. So thank you so much, Ammartis. You have a great day, and thank you guys so much for joining. You guys also have a great and healing day. Bye bye.